What's happening, news nerds? Back for some more news, are we, you cheeky little devils? Let's get right to it. Beesh! A man has booby-trapped a no parking sign with, of course, razor blades. According to WREG, the Oxford Eagle, Layfet County Sheriff's Office, and of course, Law and Crime, according to the police, one woman was cut by a no parking sign that Jason Curl allegedly set up and booby-trapped with razor blades. Jordan Jennings, manager of the Sky Mart bait shop and grocery, said about the incident, and I quote, "It cut her good." He further said she was very distraught and upset about something. She was asking for a cloth and something to clean it off. Not surprised with a hand that looked like string cheese, Mr. Curl was apparently pretty pissed off with people messing about with his no parking signs that he had scattered about his mobile home, with the 5-0 reporting that he'd been doing this for some time. Mr. Curl's wife, I suppose you could say Mrs. Curl, said that cars have been blocking their gravel driveway nearly every day whilst dropping off and picking up students from a nearby school. Unfortunately, the issue is he's been setting up razor blade surprises on parts of property that don't belong to him, which has led to charges of aggravated assault for purposely attempting to cause injury. Mr. Curl was, however, released. He was actually released on the same day as his arrest, but now with a $20,000 bail. I'll be honest, this guy had me pretty sympathetic to his cause up until I realised that they were on land he didn't own. But it does sound like this is the police's only issue. Does that mean you can put landmines down on your own land? Answers on a postcard, Americans. How mint would it be to have the postman looking like a visitee of Princess Diana? China's Pizza Hut franchise is now serving deep-fried frog, according to The Independent. For a limited time only, the Chinese arm of Edge Pizza discontinuous Pizza Hut are serving deep-fried frog as the main topping on one of their pizzas, with an additional topping of 2 eggs in what looks like a sort of gentleman's tackle with legs. David Henk, a global food trend watcher and industry consultant, posted on X a picture of the unnerving specialty pizza. What the fuck is that? What's this, the Mad Max timeline? The thick crust pizza features a red sauce base under a bed of parsley. So far, so good. With a whole fried bullfrog on top. Absolutely not. With 2 halves of hard-boiled egg and black olives to appear as the eyes of the frog. And according to Korean news outlet Mail Business Newspaper, the pizza has been launched in collaboration with Dungeons & Dragons and is named Goblin Pizza, after one of the popular game's characters. Can someone from the extended nerd fraternity please verify this in the comments? Please, thank you. Lots of keyboard warriors jumped on Reddit to express disgust, obviously, with one saying, "This pizza is a felony," and another saying, "I would not be mad if the pizza underneath the frog was passable." To be fair, from this image it looks like the dry-ass garlic bread the local meat shaver sends free when they're late with your order. It's proper weirding me out. So, if you like your pizza with a full and undressed froggy plopped on top of a prison-issue pizza base, you know exactly where to go. As for me, I know exactly where to go. To the toilet. Excuse me whilst I throw up my guts. One train driver's toilet break led to the delay of 125 trains. According to the Seoul Metro and the Straits Times, Dire Straits, Seoul subway line number 2 was delayed over 20 minutes during the morning rush hour due to a train driver taking an urgent toilet break. The driver, who was caught short during his duties, ran to the bog at around 11 AM, whilst an engineer watched over his train at this time. He must have evacuated himself at the speed of light though, as he eventually returned 4 minutes and 16 seconds later. That includes a sprint time to the nearest Kazi. A Kazi which, according to the article, are not near the platforms. I smell a solution here. Or is that a stroke? However, after this seemingly insignificant break, the 125 trains that followed the Call of Nature train had to be rescheduled, with many of them delayed by 20 minutes from their original scheduled arrival time. But as drivers are required to work circular routes for 2 to 3 hours without breaks, it's honestly surprising this doesn't happen more often. My question is, have they not got any empty Coke bottles knocking about in Korea? I mean, it's what a mate of mine used to do when he was far too high to go to the toilet. I won't describe it too much, but it's safe to say sometimes telling iron brew apart from urine can be a little bit tricky. I can still taste the foam. A Florida inmate has become pregnant via air vent semen. According to WSVN7 and Latin Times, a Florida prison inmate has been compared to the Virgin Mary after falling pregnant with the child of another inmate, despite the two having never met face to face. 29-year-old Daisy Link, who was locked up at the Turner Guilford Night Correctional Centre, met 24-year-old Joan DePaz after making contact in some Finding Dory-esque fashion via the air vents, being that he was also freedom deprived. After getting to know each other, they began a romantic relationship, with Joan opening up and sharing his ambitions to have a child. The two then came up with the ingenious plan of creating a direct line to each other using their available cell bedding. Once this line of fabric had been established, Joan DePaz started sending his semen. Grim. The semen was packaged neatly in saran wrap, or cling film for us Brits. Joan said, "I put the semen in saran wrap every day, like 5 times a day, for like a month straight." When Link received the packages, by the way, is anyone eating? Maybe skip this bit. When Link received the package, she administered the contents to herself using yeast infection applicators. And after a couple of attempts, Daisy eventually became pregnant. But the nipper doesn't have to grow up behind a load of metal bars. The baby is now living with Joan DePaz's mother. Daisy Link had this to say about the situation. "I can't believe it worked. I think everything happened for a reason. She could be anything. I think she's going to be something great. My thoughts are, the only way is up, I suppose. You can't really get a worse start in life than being conceived via an air vent." I wonder if that would make the kid's brother a spider or a prison rat. A man tried to smuggle drugs via a meth-soaked cow onesie. According to The Guardian, US justice officials, which is a cool-sounding job but is probably quite boring, said an alleged would-be drug smuggler soaked a cow onesie in methamphetamines as part of a whole suitcase full of clothes that he tried to sneak aboard a plane. Raj Matharu apparently checked in 2 bags at Los Angeles International Airport for a flight bound for Sydney, Australia. Once the cases went through the X-ray, customs bods became suspicious and opened them up for a closer look. They then found more than a dozen items of clothing, including the cow onesie, dried stiff and covered in a white residue. Like teenagers' socks under a bed then. Lab tests revealed the substance to be meth, with more than 1 kilogram concealed amongst the fabrics. And 31-year-old Raj Matharu has now been charged with 1 count of possession, not the Exorcist kind obviously, with intent to distribute methamphetamines. I'd say this was pretty innovative, although on this occasion, pretty unsuccessful. I do wonder though, what else they can soak into a onesie and smuggle into the country. I could do with a steering box for a 1996 BMW 8 Series. A UFC fighter is still struggling after the last fighter she fought struck her with an elbow to the anus. According to Outkick.com, UFC strawweight Luana Pinheiro is still recovering from her last fight after she caught several 12-6 elbows, which have, up until recently, been illegal, on her bum, including one directly to the anus. The disrespectful shots, as Pinheiro refers to them as, took place at the end of the first round, with one of them, quite possibly the devastating elbow to the anus, taking place after the bell. It's typical, isn't it? Anus pain after a bell. The injury sustained in the octagon is still causing her issues weeks later, causing her to have trouble sitting down, and obviously she's not happy about it. Pinheiro told AG Fight, "I definitely felt it there. Excuse my language, but she elbowed my anus. To me, that's disrespectful. I'd never do that to another athlete. In my view, she did it maliciously, with bad intentions. Not just during the round, but after the bell she did it again. I'm on strong meds. Today's the last day I'll take them. I can't sit without a cushion or bend my back. I can't exert much force because I feel it there. At first I couldn't walk, cough or laugh properly. Sneezing was agony. I felt like I was dying, you know. It wasn't the heat of the moment. She knew where she was hitting, you know." Most difficult piece I've done. Why am I still entertained at the word anus? Do you know what? I 100% agree that this should be off limits. My dump cutter is incredibly sensitive. Someone hits me in the poop chute and I'm playing dirty. Like bribe the groomer to give your dog a really bad haircut kind of dirty. A shop in Japan has started selling drinkable mayonnaise. According to The Independent and Sora News 24, convenience store chain Lawson has launched Nomu Mayo, or drinkable mayonnaise, which comes packed in a sleek, upmarket cup adorned with a whimsical squeeze bottle illustration, and is priced at £1.04 for 200 millilitres. Lawson has described the substance as the chilled drink mayo fanatics have long been waiting for. However, it's not technically mayonnaise. The label describes it as a mayonnaise-style drink. And that's better, is it? Here's a little extract from the Gigazine review. When you drink it, you can feel the taste that is quite close to mayonnaise, with a mellow egg taste and a sour taste. It has less than 1/10 the calories of the real thing, so it can be gulped down without guilt. So you can fully enjoy the satisfaction of gulping down mayonnaise. It's also recommended to enjoy it with foods that you would normally eat mayonnaise with. Why is everything this week grim? This thought is the grim. I actually spoke to my wife about this, and she loves mayonnaise, and even she did a sort of face. And I've seen that woman eat buckwheat porridge, which, if you don't know, smells exactly like burning plastic. A man in China spent $550,000 on a streamer in the hopes for her to call him brother. According to SCMP, a man in China became the target of ridicule on mainland social media after spending over 4 million yuan on tipping a live streaming anchor, all in a desperate attempt to hear her call him brother. After the man, only known by his surname of Hong, had spunked all his money, he ended up having to eat plain steamed buns to survive amid his self-induced financial ruin. This all started earlier this year, where he developed an obsession with a female live streamer and began funneling money, initially by draining his family's savings into the pocket of an undisclosed lady. Once the savings ran out, he then resorted to stealing copper materials during deliveries to his family's business. Beginning in May, he often nicked the copper from his own family and sold it on to waste recycling stations. However, this ended in October, when the factory reported the missing copper to the Rozzers, suspecting a theft. Following a police investigation and accompanied by his family, the man then turned himself in. Initially, however, only confessing to the 2 most recent thefts. But when confronted with evidence from his financial transactions, which showed unexplained income entering his account and unreal outgoings to the aforementioned live streaming platform, Mr. Hong ultimately confessed. He admitted to committing over 40 thefts since May, totaling about $316,000, all of which he spent on tipping the live streaming host to elevate her rankings. Explaining his motives, Hong stated, "I didn't want to meet her, I just wanted to hear her call me brother." Hong was eventually arrested on suspicion of theft, and so far over $137,000 has been recovered and returned to the factory. I get it when super gimps throw money at streamers and hope that they can drink their bathwater, but wanting to be called brother. But if said Chinese super gimp wants to send me $500,000, I'll call him brother. I'll even give him a nuggie and a couple of complexes he'll have to work out in therapy. A cop who was awarded Deputy of the Year was arrested drunk after trying to direct non-existent traffic. According to Law and Crime and WMGT, a Georgia cop who once won Deputy of the Year was arrested and charged with DUI last week after he tried to drunkenly direct traffic outside of an elementary school, despite there being no cars in the area. When Garrison Page was asked what he was doing and whether he needed medical attention, he replied, "None of your business," I imagine in that accent. Mr. Page, who had only been working for Houston County for 8 days after his transfer from another county, was at Skyview Elementary School, dressed in plain clothes and driving a police car when Board of Education officers came across him. Mr. Page was allegedly slurring his words and standing unsteadily whilst talking to officers about what he was doing. A witness to the event told authorities that Mr. Page was not right and was talking to himself whilst directing cars that didn't exist. Board of Education officers said that Mr. Page smelt of alcohol, prompting them to detain him under suspicion of a DUI for allegedly driving to the scene. Mr. Page then allegedly refused to take a breath test and was pretty uncooperative and tried to remove a needle from his arm during an attempted blood test. Authorities had to get a warrant from a Superior Court judge to finally get his blood drawn, though the results have not been made public. He's now been released after being booked on DUI charges and is apparently now suspended pending termination. What a fall from grace. This is just like the time I was politely asked not to turn up to any future council meetings. Apparently, let's knock the whole town down isn't constructive. A man nearly dies after being bitten by his pet hamster. According to the Metro, Nathan Halliday, 34 from Kirkby in Merseyside, sat down peacefully with Mochi, his Syrian hamster, when she suddenly attacked him and left him for dead. Due to the bite, the man then experienced an anaphylactic shock, where his body swelled up, he couldn't breathe, and was also covered in hives. The man's partner then struggled to get the hamster off Nathan. And apparently, a few days before the incident, the hamster was looking frail. Not that frail if she can have a fight. Once Mochi was taken off Nathan's now swollen body, the hamster then took its last 2 breaths and died. Fair enough, I rescind my previous statement. His partner rang 999 and paramedics then arrived on scene to find a pretty severely ill Nathan. However, they gave him 2 shots of adrenaline and antihistamine and he was put on oxygen. And although it doesn't specifically say in the article, I presume he was taken to the hospital. Nathan said, "It was absolutely horrendous, especially as I had no idea a hamster bite could cause something like this. My whole body felt swollen and my throat hurt. I couldn't even speak, and it was like I was breathing through a straw. I was covered in hives. They gave me EpiPens for the next time a hamster wanted to take me on." All jokes aside, the experience was really scary. This hasn't fazed Nathan though, with him further saying, "We rescue hamsters from people who otherwise wouldn't want them, and I'd never say no to another one." My thoughts are, I probably wouldn't continue with the whole hamster thing if my body reacted so severely to something surely hamsters do on a regular basis. Maybe try a safer animal, like a zebra or a hippo. You know, something that causes blunt force trauma. You know where you stand with that. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. You know what to do. And if you want to watch more, please click here.